Hey guys, what's up? It's Joe Raiti from Raiti's Rides. I am here at this secret special location deep within Motor City, Detroit, Michigan, for something exciting from that brand known as Chevrolet. What is it all about? It's this vehicle right here. This is your all-new redesigned 2025 Chevrolet Equinox. And guess what? This is the first ever Equinox Active trim. But before we get into this all-wheel drive, all redesigned Equinox, let's talk about what's going on here. So the Equinox, it's been around since 2005, if you could believe that. So thinking about this being a model year 2025, if you do the simple math, that's 20 years of this crossover SUV. And it's been such a great seller that, of course, the Silverado is gonna be king of the hill, but right second when it comes to sales is gonna be that Equinox. Now, a lot of people have gravitated towards the Equinox for a plethora of different reasons. Of course, the versatility, the ease of use, and that familiarity. But what Chevrolet is doing, they're taking a lot of the magic that they started with the Trax, they brought over to the Traverse, they bring into the Blazer EV, and now they're bringing it into the Equinox. And I have to applaud Chevrolet for this because they're really bridging the gap here with this vehicle. And what I mean by that is, as you already are aware, we already brought you the news that there's a Equinox EV coming. Well, guess what? This is also going to be available with an internal combustion engine to help with that crossover to full electrification. So definitely very good of Chevrolet to do that. Now, of course, there's lots of competition out there in this compact crossover SUV segment. And it seems that over the years, it's gotten more fierce. But what I want to find out is Chevrolet on to something with this 2025 Equinox? And is it the best one you should be buying? Let's go ahead. We got a sneak peek with this model. Let's find out. Right off the bat, the Active. This is going to be one of 3 separate trims. And that's another thing that I think that Chevrolet is doing very well is they're cutting out the fat. They're getting right down to the meat and the potatoes of things with their trims. So you're going to have your entryway into the Equinox. That's going to be, of course, your LT. Then you go RS. And then now we have the all-new Active. When you look at the Active, you're going to see some special touches that are specific to it. But even with the LT, they're still bringing a lot of new technology and a lot of different ways to get your Equinox. At the front of the business, you could see the direction that they're going in with their design. So you're going to have your new fashion LED daytime running lamp, and then you're going to have this lower pod that has your LED headlight. And I like the fact that they bring in, of course, fog lamps. That's something that a lot of brands are not adding anymore. Now, when you look at the Active trim, this particular trim has a specific front fascia to it. And I'm going to show you an RS as well before we wrap this up, just to give you a taste between the two. But when you go Active, you'll notice how you have your body color coming nice and angular, but then you'll also notice the dark chrome style finish that extends towards the fender and then goes all the way across the brow of the front of this new Equinox. Definitely bolder and gives it that family resemblance to the Trax, the new Traverse. Even I could see Tahoe in this, and we're talking about the compact crossover SUV segment. Now, working our way down, we have some gloss black and then a little bit of flat black on the bottom portion. That's always smart because, of course, the Active trim specifically is meant for people to take their vehicle going off that beaten path a little bit, and you want those things to not be painted because it'll look better over time. Now, as we come across that new style grille, love the way you got your blacked out bow tie. Remember, Louis Chevrolet, all that history going back to the early 1900s. Nice to see a forward-facing camera. I can't tell you how many off-road trims we see with other brands where that's something that they leave out. And I think that's such a key thing that if you're going to go off-road, you want to have that forward-facing camera to see what is in front of you. because obviously behind the wheel you can't see everything. So very nice touch that they brought there. Full functionality. You'll notice they gave it this almost like 2 extra kind of nostrils here on both sides. We got the ACTIV badge, blends in nicely with that grille. And this is that carbon flash metallic. So it's not just simple gloss black. It's a nice carbon flash metallic. And then working your way down, they finish it off with your flat black. But definitely, like I said, you could see that new family resemblance, and boy, oh boy, is it looking good on the Equinox. Now, as we rise up, when you look at the Chevrolet badge, you have a nice peak there. It goes into the hood, and then it kind of just evaporates. Very clean. And then they give it these 2 indentations, which play 2 different roles. First of all, it's going to give you a good visual reference point with those fenders, the peak of the fenders with the hood, nice visual reference point when you're driving behind the wheel, but it also helps with that extra bold style. And you'll notice just how much higher the hood is. And it's actually a good thing when it comes to the looks. It doesn't look like a rounded jelly bean or anything like that. It really has a nice purposeful look. Now, underneath the hood, if you're wondering what do we got for power plant, you're still gonna have that 1.5 liter inline-4 turbocharged engine. It has been refreshed, still producing 175 horsepower, but the bigger news is guess what? They got rid of the 6-speed automatic, and you're gonna have 2 different ways to go with the transmission. If you go front-wheel drive, which this ACTIV is all-wheel drive, but if you go front-wheel drive, say a LT front-wheel drive, that comes now with a CVT transmission. If you go all-wheel drive, you're looking at a new 8-speed automatic. So those are some of the changes that we're seeing with the 2 different ways to go, whether you're going front-wheel drive or all-wheel drive. But as we come around the bend, this is really where it shows the testament of this being an off-road spec style vehicle. You'll notice that we have real deal off-road tires. Now, when you go active trim, you automatically get these 17-inch wheels, and they're gorgeous. Gunmetal, metallic gray, love the machined aluminum accents. And then, like I said, you can see those general grabber all-terrain tires. The way you know this is the real deal is look at the sidewall. You have that sidewall protection because it doesn't take much to puncture the side of a tire and then you're stuck on the side of the road. 235 on the width, and then you have a beefy 65 series sidewall. The other great news is that the engineers have actually tuned the suspension, the dampers, all 4 corners and the chassis based off of what type of tire each of these Equinoxes is gonna have. So don't think that they just go ahead and put these on and say, okay, go ahead and drive. No, they wanna make sure that the driving experience is gonna be good with these tires on it. You'll also notice the flat black around the fender flare opening. This is always a bit of controversy because some brands seem to kind of take it all the way into the hood. I think one day there's going to be a brand that just makes everything flat black cladding. But what's nice with this Equinox is that they only bring it up so high and they squared off the opening of the wheel well here. That's some of that magic that they're taking from the Silverado, that top-selling Chevrolet nameplate, and bringing it into the Equinox. Now, before we continue, I want to go over to the Equinox next to me because this is an RS. So this is going to be your mid-trim. RS has always been a top-selling trim for the Equinox. One of the things is, of course, you're going to have the redesign, but you're also getting a different style and wheel. Now, standard will be 19-inch wheels on this Equinox RX, but guess what? For the first time ever, you can option 20-inch wheels. But looking at this 19-inch wheel, you could see the difference between this RS wheel and the ACTIV. I love the way they went that carbon flash metallic on all of the spokes, the machined aluminum, and then tire size on this is going to be 235 on the width and a 55 series sidewall tire. But like I said, I think a lot of people, this wheel looks good, but wait until we get a hold of that 20-inch wheel. I think that might be the ticket because not many that I could think of compact crossover SUVs have a 20-inch wheel. Now going back over to the ACTIV, you're gonna be able to get it a little bit more personalized. And I like that. I like the fact that you could get it personalized right from the dealership. You'll notice two-tone. So on the ACTIV, you'll have the opportunity to have the white painted roof, and I like the way the white spills into the A-pillars on your mirror caps. And since we're talking about mirror caps, that's another nice sign. You have your 360-degree cameras. Our Equinox badge is blacked out on this ACTIV trim, color matched on the door handles, of course, and then you'll notice the flat black along the bottom. But I think with the white, it's really working, especially with the way that this one is set up. Now, one thing I want to point out is that you just have some gloss black along the bottom. It doesn't carry all the way around the window frame openings. And I like it when manufacturers do that, because I feel when you put too much black or too much bright shiny metalwork, it kind of weighs the vehicle down just from perspective. I like the way it's just on the bottom, and then you'll notice how they took that gloss and brought it into the raised roof rails. Raised roof rails are so much better than flush mounted from a standpoint of usability, especially with an ACTIV trim, because you know everybody and their mother who gets an ACTIV trim is gonna have that kayak holder up there, mountain bike holder, cargo basket, whatever they're gonna haul, and that's gonna make it easier to get those crossbars and get everything mounted. Working towards the rear pillar, this design right here, obviously all new on this Equinox, is actually taken from the Traverse, taken from the Tahoe. You could see how they extend it up into that, almost to the roof, but then the glass breaks everything up. Really, really like that attention to detail, and I think that's something that on previous Equinoxes, I don't remember seeing this much attention to detail when it comes to the style. Even the way, I'm gonna have Lori kind of swing around, just kind of show off that flared out fender, the way it flares off the rear passenger door into the rear quarter panel, and then that brings us to our taillight design. This is another direction that Chevrolet is taking from their other models, bringing it into the new Equinox, all LED, looking slick, looking sporty, and then at the tail end of the business, you have a nice long roof spoiler with that two-tone, and then we have our blacked out Chevrolet bow tie, and then you'll see the Equinox badge, all-wheel drive, everything blacked out, and the ACTIV trim. And I think the finishing, the cherry on top of this sundae, is how they sculpted the lower bumper area. Really, really sporty without being too over the top. And I like the way they angled each of the sides. I really think that when you're going off-road, that's gonna allow things to not get caught up on the back end portion. But boy, oh boy, did they change the look. Now, if you're wondering all-wheel drive, how much can you tow? You could tow around 1,500 pounds with the all-wheel drive setup. But let's get to the biggest part. It's not just about the outside. Let's get to the place where you're gonna be spending all your time, inside this new Equinox. All right, guys, we are inside this all-new 2025 Chevrolet Equinox. This particular one is the top ACTIV trim. I know you're saying to yourself, well, Joe, I am ready to pull the plug on a new compact crossover SUV. So far, you got me drooling over this Equinox, but how much is it? Now, of course, this is a pre-production, and we are getting the first look of it, and pricing is not available yet, but Chevrolet has promised me that they are looking at what the segment is doing, and they're not here to price everybody out of an Equinox. So we'll have to stay tuned on what that official price is, but let me show you what you'll be getting for your hard-earned money. To the door panels. I love the clean style. So you have that two-tone going on, really brightens up the interior. That's that new maple sugar color. And boy, oh boy, is it getting me hungry for some pancakes. A little bit of gloss black, but it's not around the switchgear. And then that door pocket is a good enough size, easily for a few slices of French toast and a bottle of your favorite syrup. But going from the door panel to the dash, this is really where the big changes are. Love the way they styled the AC vents. Nice, really well done, sporty, classy, all at the same time. And then the materials. Everything you touch in here is definitely heightened up to a new level. You have your carbon flash metallic that intersects into the all-new infotainment system. So this is an 11.3-inch infotainment system. Of course, very similar to what we've been bringing you on the new vehicles from Chevrolet. Love the way the fact that, guess what? It is full touchscreen capable, but you still have your knobs, volume knob, and then I'm going to show you the other arrangement of real deal buttons. You can see they actually put some work into designing even the fins of the AC vents in here. You got more of that maple sugar color, and then here's the real deal switchgear. Dual climate control, 3 stages of ventilated seats, 3 stages of heated seats, heated steering wheel, and guess what? Even on the LT, you're gonna get standard heated steering wheel and heated seats. You have a USB-C, a USB-A, a nice little cubby here for 5, maybe 6 Twinkies. And then because there's an electric shifter, you now have a place for a purse, a sack, a satchel, a bag of apples. Nicely placed underneath. Wireless charging, very important in today's day and age. Love the placement of it. And you'll see how they brought just a little bit of silver trim to separate this section from that lower Twinkie storage area. 2 cup holders. You have your mode selector switch, which when you go active trim, actually gives you, believe it or not, your off-road mode. And then we have that maple sugar color on the armrest here. Love the way they did the stitching. Really, really nice and detailed. The soft material, it really all comes together very, very nicely in this particular setup, which is nice. And then of course, when it comes to opening this up, you have your storage in there. You could easily put, I would say, 6 or 7 Rubik's Cubes in there, not a problem. And you have this nice tray for some Jolly Ranchers. Apple, sour apple, cherry, maybe watermelon. And then my favorite part is what I'm sitting on, the seats. That microfiber material, the active embroidery. Look at the piping. Like I said, all the materials have been heightened in here to a new level. You have full power assist for the passenger, full power assist for the driver. It really shows that they have left no stone unturned. But why don't you come over to the business end? I want to show you the new wheel in this new Equinox. All right, guys, here we are, business time, behind the wheel. Now you have 2 memory seat settings, so you can let a friend borrow your Equinox and they can have their own memory seat setting. Seat controls, easy to get to. Of course, you have all electric assist. I'm 6 feet tall, and I think one of the things you're gonna love is how everything is arranged in here space-wise. They did a great job with the layout. All new steering wheel, nice thick rim, leather all the way around, flat black on the switchgear. And then you have your blacked out bow tie. Of course, you're gonna have paddles to go up and down that new 8-speed automatic, because this has all-wheel drive. And it is a manual tilting and telescoping steering wheel, and you have your electric shifter on the column. That allows now this whole area to be freed up for space and your mode selector switch. But why don't we go ahead, let's get into the back seat. But before we do, I want to show them the screen, Lori. Watch this. You go into the different modes, it actually changes. So really, really cool the way it does that. Nice to have that set up. But why don't we go ahead, let's now get in the back seat and see how your passengers are going to like this new Equinox. All right, guys, backseat time, and I'm telling you right now, if you think that you have space up front, tons of space in the back. I mean, I'm still 6 feet tall, and I'm not even close to the headliner, so love the way they arrange the space. Another thing I want to point out is just how flat the floor is in the backseat area of this Equinox. That's going to help with, obviously, passenger space and volume. You do have those pockets on the back. Easily put a 1-pound bag of Twizzlers here. Love the way it's got that Evotex material, nice soft touch material. We do have heated seats, 3 stages in the back seat, rear AC vents, and 2 USB-C, so they have you covered there. And the fact that they bring all of the same materials into the back seat makes you feel good. It doesn't make you feel like you're a peasant sitting in the back seat. And then of course, nice soft armrests, 2 cup holders, but the design of the new interior is really spot on. But why don't we go ahead, let's get to the cargo area and see what we got in this Equinox. All right, guys, cargo area time. Now, before I let you in, one other thing that we need to mention about the new Equinox, especially for people that are looking for more safety, is you get more safety technology in this Equinox standard than ever before, including, of course, things like bicycle and pedestrian safety warnings. So when you're going to open up the doors, or adaptive cruise, these are things that are now part of that full technology safety package. Another feature that we have shown on the Traverse, have shown you on the Blazer EV, is that when you look at, say, the Active trim and you want to get into the cargo area, you now have that full hands-free, feet-free, whole body-free experience. You have the key fob in your pocket, you come to the back of your vehicle, and the lift gate will automatically open. You don't have to do anything. Such a nice touch, especially when your hands are full with a bunch of stuff. But we're gonna go ahead and just hit the button the good old-fashioned way. Nice electric assist. I like how low the rear bumper area is, so you're not having to lift things too high to get it into the back of your Equinox. And then, of course, to get more room, you have your 60-40 split very easily with that back seat area to even maximize more the space, especially when you're gonna go do that whole Costco run. But of course, I wanna go for a drive. I know you wanna go for a drive. It's actually snowing right now, so maybe that would be good to drive the Active, but we have to hold off for that day. Stay tuned, we will be bringing you the first drive, but let's go ahead, wrap it up from Detroit with the new Equinox. All right, guys, let me know what you think. I first of all gotta thank everybody at Chevrolet for giving us the opportunity to see at this secret location, this first peek of this pre-production model of the new Equinox. Definitely having us here is really allowing us to be able to bring it to you, so we have to thank them. But let me know what you think with the changes that they brought to the Equinox. And it's not just about the Active, remember, you do have the 3 trims, the LT, the RS, and the Active, but even, like I said, with this RS trim and how you're gonna have the differences in the style of the front end, and on top of that, the style, of course, to the interior. That's another thing that before we just wrap this up, I kind of just want to show you real quick, is have Lori show this front passenger seat, because you look at the stitching, you look at the piping, you look at the materials, it's not just about getting the top Active trim. All the trims are going to have this upscale level of feel, fit, and finish that has never been seen before on an Equinox. But let me know what you're thinking so far. Are you liking the style, both outside and inside? And do you think that this is gonna be that crossover SUV that you're gonna wanna add to your garage for model year 2025? Let us know how you feel about it in that comment section. But if you're new to the channel and you're on your way out, hit that subscribe button. I promise you it's worthwhile. Come back for more. If you are a subscriber, thank you for being part of the Raise Rights family. Of course, none of this would be possible if it wasn't for Lori Givens Raiti working that camera like a champ, getting every angle of these new Equinox for you, or I don't even know what the plural is, Equini for you, or Equinoxes. I guess it depends on what you want to say, but definitely thank you, Lori, for all that you do. And just like always, guys, I'll see you on the next ride.